Fox 61 Morning News starts now.
And right now at 7 o'clock, the war in Ukraine rages on. The Russian military has conducted more airstrikes. Fox 61's Julia LeBlanc is going to join us live in a few minutes with an update.
Plus, a suspect now in custody after two fires, one at a church, one at a synagogue, Friday night in New Britain. Fox 61's Angelo Bavaro is joining us live on what's being done to keep folks safe.
And with the national average of gas prices surging over the past 2 weeks, could there be a leveling off here in the state sometime soon? We'll have that breakdown for you ahead.
Good Monday morning. We're glad you're starting off your new day and your new week with us here on Fox 61 America Areas.
And I'm Tim Lammers. Good morning to you. It is 7 o'clock here on this Monday as we take a live look outside from both Hartford and New Haven, as now the sun is coming up. Remember, it's coming up a little later now that we've moved the clocks forward, but things are looking good. The weekend's behind us.
Behind us, yeah, it was a messy one, especially Saturday, and then Sunday got really cold.
And that
I still got ice.
That thankfully is behind us too. So we are back to work, and of course now the temperatures are going up. Good morning to you. Nice to have you aboard at 7 o'clock. As the sun finally does catch up to the rest of us who have been here for a while. We have a forecast that's looking pretty good for the week. As a matter of fact, problem-free for the most part. Here's what you need to know. It's largely a quiet week ahead. Just one little hiccup in it. We're warming up, and boy, are we, to spring-like conditions and then some down the line as we get make a run at some really warm temperatures this week. As we wind down the last few days of winter. Parade Day for Hartford is now Saturday. We postponed it, and boy, if you were out Saturday, you know that was the right call. Can we make it better? We'll talk about that. Temperatures between 23 and 35. It's a little chilly in Waterbury, but everyone else averaging around 30 degrees, give or take 1 or 2. 29 in Hartford, 30 in New Haven, 35 right now in Groton, New London. Cloud and radar perspective is quiet. We have clouds out there now, but we'll burn off a good amount of them and get some sunshine going on. I promise you that. Watch the numbers as we go through the day, getting into the upper 40s, lower 50s by 3, 4 o'clock, and then adding a couple of clouds overnight tonight. Not a big deal, and that'll actually keep it a little milder. Look at those overnight lows getting down only into the upper 30s. 31 this morning for the middle schoolers getting on the bus this hour. 49 and loads of sunshine as all the kids get off later on this afternoon. We'll talk about how big those numbers are going to be in the afternoons for the kids later on. And parents, you're going to have some fights with your kids. I know it's going to happen. What to wear in the morning versus how they're going to feel in the afternoon. Let's just say a lot of jackets may be left at the school locker. Talk about that coming up. 7:02, let's go to the roads. Here's Rachel Piscatelli with a look at traffic.
Hey, good morning, Matt. Things are looking good out on the roadways. No major delays to report, except for in Fairfield County, where we're starting to see our delays build, and we'll show you that traffic camera in just a moment. But across the state, we have a lot of green on the map with no major delays or incidents to report on this morning. Out in Waterbury, 84 east and westbound looking good. Also, 91. We'll take a live look outside there out in Wethersfield, where traffic is moving just fine. We have some volume out on the roadways, but other than that, no major issues. And heading towards the I-95 interchange out in New Haven, no major delays. Here's the delays out in Fairfield at the moment. We're seeing heavy delays in the area from Bridgeport to Fairfield. It's an 11-minute drive. And Trumbull to Westport, you're tapping the brakes around 17 minutes on the Merritt Parkway. Tim and Erica, back to you.
Okay, thank you so much. 7:03, let's get you the latest now on the war in Ukraine. Over the weekend, attacks reached a different part of the country, one that is dangerously close to a NATO member country, that being Poland.
Yeah, the westernmost portion of the country largely untouched since the start of this war 19 days ago. That is until now. So we're turning now to Fox 61's Julia LeBlanc for the latest details. Julia, good morning.
Good morning to you. Yeah, those airstrikes ended up killing 35 people and injuring 145 others. It happened at a military training base between Lviv and the Polish border, again, a member of NATO. Now, Poland is where millions of Ukrainian families and their children have fled to since the start of the war. Both Russian and Ukrainian officials say as soon as today, more peace talks may take place to help refugees flee the country without harm. But the attacks also stretching outside of Lviv over the weekend. New this morning, we're learning there was another attack at an aircraft factory where 2 people were killed and 7 others were injured. That happening in Ukraine's capital. Another person was also killed and 3 more injured after an apartment building was struck.
It's proof that Putin is attacking civilians, and this is a cynical lie of him saying he would only attack military targets.
Now, since the start of the war, the UN Human Rights Office says at least 596 civilians have been killed in Ukraine, and more than 100 people have been injured. 43 of those, we're told, were children. Also among those killed, an American journalist, 50-year-old Brent Renaud. He was on the job covering the stories of refugees. Some really sad news this morning. Of course, stick with us as we continue to bring the latest on the war in Ukraine. We'll send it back to you guys.
Okay, Julia, thank you so much. Of course, we'll be sure to stay on top of this. Well, the Connecticut Children's Medical Center also took some action Sunday to help people in Ukraine. Volunteers and members with the hospital teamed up at the Global Health Warehouse on South Street to collect medical supplies, things like tourniquets, gauze pads, bandages, first aid kits, and much more. Volunteers with whom we spoke said these supplies are going to be a big help to people who are hurt trying to get out of that country.
We're able to right now to load the packs and boxes of medical supplies that's super urgent to Ukrainian people, because can you imagine when your home is bombed, your hospital, your school is bombed, you have no shelter, and you've been wounded you need medical help. They have run out of supplies.
I have a really close friend from PA school who is Ukrainian, so when I heard about everything that was happening in Ukraine, I was trying to think of a way to help, and I know Connecticut Children's is a great place to start.
Well, there were up to 20 people volunteering yesterday at any one time. If you weren't able to drop off any supplies, but you still want to help, you can go to fox61.com and our Fox 61 app for more information. Well, this morning, a lot of people in New Britain are demanding answers after there were fires at 2 houses of worship just on Friday. Police did make an arrest in the case over the weekend, and that person, of course, is facing charges. Fox 61's Angelo Bavaro is live in New Britain with more on what's going on. Good morning.
Hey, good morning, Tim. And the buildings that we're talking about here, there would be a synagogue and a church. The damage still on full display this morning as those neighbors just wonder why exactly this happened. Take a look. We're at the synagogue right now, and if you take a look up at the window, you can see they are boarded up. But up top, we've got all that damage that is peeking out, the flames causing a mess in this building. Now, as you mentioned, police arresting 30-year-old Kimora Parker, who is facing third-degree arson and burglary charges in connection to this case. The fire here at the synagogue, that was reported around 8 p.m. on Friday night. This is the Congregation Tefereth Israel Synagogue on Winter Street. Now, the fire chief telling Fox 61 there is extensive damage at this location. And now lifelong members just want to know what was the motive for this person. Take a listen.
What gratification do they get out of it? I have no idea. I doubt if they're really giving consideration to the thoughts and feelings people have about the properties they're damaging, but I don't know. I have no idea what their thoughts are. I only know, I feel it was devastating. It was a blow. It was a great loss.
Yeah, and the second of these fires, that was reported shortly after the first one here at the synagogue. That second one, that was at St. Matthew's Lutheran Church on Franklin Square. The fire department says there was minimal damage at that site. Mayor Aaron Stewart did share a message from the FBI over the weekend, which is coordinating with the state and local police on this case. The FBI says they will ultimately determine whether federal charges are appropriate pending further evidence collection. And the mayor also adding here that these fires, they are not in connection with those threats that were mailed to Polish businesses because of their support of Ukraine. We are live in New Britain this morning. I'm Angelo Bavaro, Fox 61 News.
Angelo, thank you. Got some developing news. Fire crews responded to this crash involving a state transit bus and a Jeep. This was Sunday morning in East Haven. When crews got to the scene, they found the vehicle up against the Jeep up against the bus. 5 people had to be taken to local hospitals for treatment. No word how bad those injuries are. Police are still investigating the crash.